ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। परीक्षिदुवाच अहो अद्य वयं ब्रह्मन् सत्सेव्या क्षत्रबान्धवः कृपयातिथिरूपेण भवद्भिस्तीर्थकः तीर्थकाः कृतः। परीक्षिदुवाच अहो अद्य वयं ब्रह्मन् सत्सेव्या क्षत्रबान्धवः कृपयातिथिरूपेण भवद्भिस्तीर्थकाः कृतः। परीक्षिदुवाच अहो अद्य वयं ब्रह्मन् सत्सेव्या क्षत्रबन्धवः कृपयातिथिरूपेण भवद्भिस्तीर्थकाः कृतः। Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Parikshit Uvacha, the fortunate Maharaj Parikshit said, Aho, aha, adya, today, vayam, we, Brahman, O Brahmana, Satsevyaha, eligible to serve the devotee, Kshatra, the ruling class, Bandhavaha, friends, Kripaya, by your mercy, Atithi Rupena, in the manner of a guest, Bhavadbihi, by your good self, Tirthakaha, qualified for being places of pilgrimage, Kritaha, done by you. Translation. The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahmana, by your mercy only you have sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we who are but unworthy royalty become eligible to serve the devotee. Purport. Saintly devotees like Śukadeva Gosvāmī generally do not approach worldly enjoyers, especially those in royal orders. Maharaja Prataparudra was a follower of Lord Chaitanya, but when he wanted to see the Lord refused to see him because he was a king. For a devotee who desires to go back to Godhead, two things are strictly prohibited: worldly enjoyers and women. Therefore, devotees of the standard of Śukadeva Goswami are never interested in seeing kings. Maharaj Parikshit was, of course, a different case. He was a great devotee, although a king, and therefore Śukadeva Goswami came to see him in his last stage of life. Maharaj Parikshit, out of his devotional humility, felt himself an unworthy descendant of his great Kshatriya forefathers, although he was as great as his predecessors. The unworthy sons of the royal orders are called Kshatra Bandhavas, as the unworthy sons of the Brahmanas are called Dvija Bandhus or Brahma Bandhus. Maharaja Parikshit was greatly encouraged by the presence of Śukadeva Goswami. He felt himself sanctified by the presence of the great saint, whose presence turns any place into a place of pilgrimage. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiriyet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Yes, so daily recitation of Bhagavatam cleans our heart, and then we can understand this is the way devotees behave. In Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada writes that, here you can see that King Parikshit is speaking such sweet words. In the previous verse also, we saw that the arrival of Śukadeva Goswami is there, and then he sits there. The sage Sri Śukadeva Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaj Parikshit approached him offered his respects by bowing before him and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. So these are the sweet words he's offering to Śukadeva Goswami. O Brahmana, by your mercy only, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also said that all we are made up of is Vaishnava's mercy. Please meditate on this sentence very carefully. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj says, all we are made up of is Vaishnava's mercy. So even when we have achieved great feats in devotional service, even we do great things, we've preached very much, we have done big festivals, we've cooked nice feasts, we've given many classes, we have to understand that all we are made up of is Vaishnava's mercy. Here Parishad Maharaj is very wonderfully telling us, yes, that when we receive someone, we should also understand that that person is coming here to give us their mercy. When we have devotee guests at our house, we must serve them very, very nicely. There are a lot of protocols involved there. One time, my spiritual master was here, and we took him to a house program. The time was fixed, everything, and my spiritual master is very particular about time, just like Prabhupada. We reached there in time, and people were still decorating the house. The host was probably taking bath or something like that, so he was not there to welcome, the devotees. My Guru Maharaj went. He gave a class for 15 minutes, and he said, "Any questions? Thank you very much." So we should understand that yes, when these devotees come, there's a protocol to be followed, and we should be very careful in maintaining all the different protocols. So here, Parishad Maharaj is welcoming Śukadeva Goswami. And Prabhupada in the purport also mentions a few things. First of all, of course, Parishad Maharaj understands that he is desirous of the mercy of Srila Śukadeva Goswami. Then he glorifies Śukadeva Goswami. He says, you have actually sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage. How? All by your presence here as my guest. So this is the power of the presence of a Vaishnava. Even when we are, remembering these wonderful devotees, Śukadeva Goswami, King Parikshit, so many devotees are mentioned in Srimad Bhāgavatam. And we'll see there are so many instances where these sages go to these royalties and they are instructing them. The royalties, even though they're kings, they're very respectfully bowing down to these sages and asking them about how to progress in their spiritual life, how to become dear to Krishna. And then Śukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj is giving the other side, his own side of the story, where yes, we are unworthy royalty. He doesn't say, we are royalty, we should be, because Parikshit Maharaj has already experienced the curse, because at that point of time, by providence, by Krishna's will, he forgot that as a royalty also, he had to respect and worship Shamik Rishi. Just in that moment when he forgot that his own position, now he remembers, yes, that because of that, this is all happening and I'm getting cursed to live in 7 days. So here, when Śukadeva Goswami is coming, of course, Śukadeva Goswami is a very powerful personality. And we also could see, so many devotees, if we hear, I would recommend everyone to hear regularly, on a regular basis, Srila Prabhupada memories. Siddhanta Prabhu has interviewed, I think the more than 300-400 disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And he's come up with a series of tapes. Now, of course, it's on YouTube, Srila Prabhupada memories. Many of these disciples, most of these disciples, they see just in the presence of Srila Prabhupada, everything changed. Everything changed. That was such a powerful presence. Recently, we were hearing a podcast by Abhiram Prabhu. And he said, even ordinary people, he was given an example that in San Francisco, Srila Prabhupada was coming, he was entering the building, and it was, I think, early in the morning, and these devotees were following Srila Prabhupada. And there were three people who were just like lying down there. Probably they would be either druggies or drunkards or someone, and they had got no idea of anything else. The moment they saw Srila Prabhupada, immediately they stood up with so much respect. I mean, there's like no connection between Prabhupada and these three people. These three people, were sleeping there overnight, just in the porch of this building, the lobby of the building. But the moment they saw Srila Prabhupada, all of them got up like in full attention. Prabhupada looked at them very compassionately, very mercifully, and he said, Hare Krishna. And he just walked. So we can see here, Prabhupada gives example of Maharaj Prataparudra, who was a follower of Lord Chaitanya. Again, he was a king. Lord Chaitanya didn't want to see him. But Maharaj Prataparudra was a devotee. And not only an ordinary devotee, he was a determined devotee, because he wanted to get association of Lord Chaitanya somehow or the other. Recently, my Guru Maharaj is giving a wonderful class on series of classes on I must go to Vrindavan, where he's digging very deep into the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, and he wanted to go to Vrindavan, and he first of all he asked Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar, Gadadhar Pandit, and they all said, why Vrindavan? Why do you have to go to Vrindavan? You have so many associates here. Because they did not want separation from Mahaprabhu. Because they knew that if Mahaprabhu is going to Vrindavan, he's going to go alone. He's not going to carry all the retinue of the devotees. So they are saying, no, there's no point of going to Vrindavan. You are here directly in Neelachala. Neelachala, Jagannath Puri, is not different from Vrindavan at all. Here you have Krishna himself in the wonderful form of Lord Jagannath. You have Balaramji here in the form of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. Now, why do you have to go to Vrindavan? Anyway, Mahaprabhu had desire to go to Vrindavan. So he asked one of the devotees to ask the king, Prataparudra, go and get a map of the journey from here to Vrindavan. And when this devotee comes to King Prataparudra, and he says, can I please have a map from here to Vrindavan? And King Prataparudra is asking him, so who wants this map? Because, those days maps were quite rare, and they were kept in, the royal libraries and royal treasures and all that. They were not so easily available. So King Prataparudra was very inquisitive. He said, who wants this map? Because ordinary people won't, look for a map in those days. And the moment he said, Lord Chaitanya, King Prataparudra fainted. He said, my Lord wants to go to Vrindavan? Is he going to leave Jagannath Puri? Is he going to leave us? This is like taking life out of soul. He cannot do that. He cannot do that. He's got everyone here, all his associates here. We are all here to serve him nicely. Lord Jagannath is here. Ultimately, of course, King Prataparudra gives the map to the devotee, and then, of course, Mahaprabhu leaves from Vrindavan. That's another story. Also, then we see there are, in Gaura Leela, there is Pundrik Vidyanidhi. Pundrik Vidyanidhi is the incarnation of King Vrishabhanu from the Krishna Leela. And once Mukunda Datta, he takes Gadadhar Pandit. He says, he tells Gadadhar Pandit that it will be very nice for us to meet this wonderful devotee called Pundrik Vidyanidhi. And as we have heard this story before, Gadadhar Pandit, of course, is none other than Srimati Radharani. Pundrik Vidyanidhi is none other than King Vrishabhanu, the father of Srimati Radharani. And when Gadadhar Pandit goes and sees the opulence of Pundrik Vidyanidhi, he's saying, like, Mukundata, why have you brought me here? Like, this is not my place. This is a very opulent place. We are mendicants. We are supposed to be living simply. But then, of course, as we know that the moment the servant brings a peacock feather fan to fan Pundrik Vidyanidhi faints. So these are the types of devotees which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. We also hear that in the previous verses that King Parikshit is glorified because of his ancestors, because of his dynasty. He was the grandson of the Pandavas. And, the Pandavas are wonderful devotees. They were, of course, Rajarshis. Yudhishthira Maharaj was a Rajarshi. But here he calls himself as a Kshatriya Bandhava. He calls himself not as a worthy descendant of the great Pandavas, but he feels himself as unworthy descendant of the great Kshatriya forefathers. So humility also is expressed here in Prabhupada's purport. The mercy of the devotees, like Śukadeva Gosvāmī is mentioned here in the verse. We've also heard when in the 3rd chapter of this 1st canto, when Mahatma Vidur returns to ultimately save Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, Yudhishthira Maharaj welcomes him very beautifully. Bhavad vidha bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirthi kurvanti tirthani swanta sthena gadabhrata. Gadabhrata is wonderful name of Krishna. One, in one of his pastimes, he holds Gada, the supreme personality of Godhead. So here, Maharaj Yudhishthir is also glorifying Mahatma Vidur in a very similar way. That yes, my Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. You are a holy place. Wherever you move, the holy place is there. Why? Because you carry the supreme personality of Godhead within your heart. And then wherever you go, you turn that place into pilgrimage. And similar sentiment is expressed by King Parikshit here. And he's saying that, yes, you have sanctified us. He tells Śukadeva Gosvāmī that you have sanctified us, making us into places of pilgrimage. We see in the 11th canto, Narad Muni is instructing Vasudeva. Now, Vasudeva is father of Krishna, most intimate associate of Krishna. But still, because he has taken the position of a king, he is respecting Narad Muni, and Narad Muni is instructing Vasudeva. So many instances are there where you can see in the Varnashram system also, the Brahmanas are higher than the Kshatriyas. And then, the kings, the royalties, they respect these saintly people. Of course, Śukadeva Gosvāmī, Prabhupada opens this purport with saying that, Śukadeva Gosvāmī generally do not approach worldly enjoyers, especially those in royal order. But, we also hear the leelas of these wonderful kings who are exalted devotees, who are advanced devotees. Maharaja Prataparudra, King Nimi, of course, Maharaj Vasudeva himself, Maharaj Yudhishthir. So these are all the personalities who, besides doing their ordinary worldly duties of being kings, they are also exalted devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, interestingly, he, when Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami have written quite a few letters to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they receive no reply. And then ultimately, I don't know whether when they meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or he writes just one letter. I think, no, when they meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they appeal to him that, Mahaprabhu, we have written so many letters, but, we didn't hear from you. So we came and personally wanted to get your darshan. And then Mahaprabhu replies that as a young, as a paramour, as a woman, a married woman has got a paramour, a secret lover, she is always very attentive to the household duties. She's always very attentive to the household duties, but internally she's thinking of her paramour. So in our case, following in the footsteps of these wonderful kings like Parikshit Maharaj, Maharaj Yudhishthir, King Nimi, Vasudeva, we can also do our worldly duties externally, but internally we can be always thinking of Krishna. We can always be Krishna conscious. And when we understand the magnanimity, the greatness of Krishna, then pride will not come to us. Ultimately, we will also become very humble, like what Parikshit Maharaj is showing us here. that even though he comes from a great descendants, but he still thinks himself as an unworthy descendant. This is the power of the process of bhakti. And these wonderful sages, these wonderful sadhus, these wonderful Vaishnavas have actually got the power of bhakti in their hearts. In the ninth canto, there is a wonderful description of how Mother Ganga is appearing here. As we know, King Bhagirath, he was also a wonderful king. And King Bhagirath's grandfather, King Anshuman, he wanted to bring Ganga to the earth. He could not do that, even after performing so many austerities. Anshuman's son, Dilip, he wanted to bring Ganga here. But, even after performing so many austerities, he could not bring Mother Ganga here. But ultimately, King Bhagirath, he was determined. And then Mother Ganga became very pleased with him. And I think we've heard this before, that Mother Ganga said, yes, I will come. But I have two conditions. One condition is that because I'm coming from far distance, I will be coming with great force. And I need a place where someone can actually hold me so that the force is reduced. And then, of course, as we know, King Bhagirath requested Lord Shiva again by his austerities, and Lord Shiva agreed to hold Mother Ganga on his chata, on his matlock of the hair. But then the second condition was that Mother Ganga said to King Bhagirath that when I come there, and when everyone will know that I am the purifying force, I am the purifying factor, all the sinful people will come and take bath in me. So much sin will be accumulated, but then how will I get rid of all these sins? And then King Bhagirath replies very beautifully. He says, that Mother, you don't have to worry. Those who are saintly because of devotional service and are in renounced order, people who are free from material desires and who are pure devotees, who follow the regulative principles of Vedas, are always glorious and pure in their behavior, they will be able to deliver all the fallen souls. And when such pure devotees take bath in your water, the sinful reactions which are accumulated from people who have bathed in you, they will be taken care of. They will be counteracted. So please don't worry. Again, here the power of a Vaishnava, power of someone like Śukadeva Gosvāmī, power of someone like Narad Muni, power of someone like Prabhupada is mentioned here. That no matter whatever happens, when we associate with these devotees, and Bhagavatam gives us opportunity again and again and again. The teachings are same. It's not something very different. What we have heard from Bhishma Deva, what we've heard from Queen Kunti, the theme is same. But again and again and again, because we are living in this material world, it's like when you are under the shower, any mud thrown at you, any contamination thrown at you, the shower will nullify the effect. You'll come out clean. So same way, so much dirt is being thrown at us 24/7 when we live in this Kali Yuga, when we live in this material world, that we need. It's not optional anymore. It's actually compulsory for us. It's a must, that we must associate with devotees. We must do service together, hearing Bhagavatam, reciting Bhagavatam, glorifying Krishna, chanting our japa, doing deity worship. Whatever we can do, it is not an optional anymore. It is a must. Why? Because now we can realize that dirt is thrown at us, right from our phones to the billboards to all the gadgets, to people who we associate with from everywhere. How do we keep ourselves clean? Bathe in the words of Srimad Bhagavatam every minute, every hour, every day. So then, when the association of these saints, Prabhupada ends this purport by saying that Parikshit Maharaj, he felt himself sanctified by the presence of the great saint whose presence turns any place into a place of pilgrimage. So this way, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, our home, our body, our consciousness, our mind, everything becomes a place of pilgrimage. And imagine such a blissful life we can have in the association of all these devotees. Yesterday there was a verse which I could not remember, and we recite this verse every day. It's a very beautiful verse from Rig Veda. So then I thought, let me just, even though I recite it every day before starting the puja, I just completely forgot that, the beginning of it. So the verse goes like this. Om tadvishno paramam padam sada pashyanti surya diviva chakshur atatam tad viprasho vipanyevo jagravam sa samindate vishnori yat paramam padam. And this is wonderfully describing the glorious position of all the devotees. I will read the translation. It's very beautiful translation. Please hear very carefully. And anyone who's doing deity worship, it is nice to recite this verse from Rig Veda, so that we can understand, yes, we are able to worship the deities through our spiritual master, through the parampara, through all these wonderful Vaishnavas. The translation goes like this. Just as the sun's rays in the sky are extended to the mundane vision, because of the sun's rays, we can see, everything around us, and we can have look around us. So just as the sun's rays in the sky are extended to the mundane vision, so in the same way, the wise and learned devotees always see the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. Because those highly praiseworthy and spiritually awakened Brahmanas are able to see the spiritual world, they are also able to reveal that supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. So because these wonderful devotees like Śukadeva Gosvāmī, Parikshit Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, they can see the supreme abode. Prabhupada not only can see the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu, but he also has the backdoor key for us. So because these wonderful devotees can see the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu, they can also reveal it to us. All we need to do is just hear their glories, follow the instructions, do some service, chant Hare Krishna, and make our human life successful. That's all is required. So, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryo Diviva Chakshur Atatam Tad Viprasho Vipanyevo Jagravam Sa Samindate Vishnor Yat Paramam Padam. So we all want to go back to Krishna, go back to Godhead, and this is the sure and direct way that we serve the devotees, Punya Tirtha Nishevanat, that we serve these wonderful devotees and then get their mercy. It is said, affection flows downwards and respect flows upwards. Affection flows downward and respect flows upwards. So this way, when we are respectful to these devotees, when we serve these devotees, the affection of these wonderful devotees flow towards us. But what do we have to have? Right now, we don't have that commodity with us. One time, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was asked, how can we get the association of Krishna? How can we see Krishna? And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji answered in one word, laulyam. He said, greed. He said, only by greed to come to Krishna consciousness, only by greed to serve the devotees. We should have that intense greed, laulyam, that wonderful laulyam that, yes, I want to do service. I want to do service, whatever my seniors tell me, whatever my guru tells me, whatever Prabhupada has asked me to do. So when this laulyam is there, and then the next question was, how do we get laulyam? Because we don't have that laulyam. And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji gave a very oceanic smile, and he said, you have to spend 5 paisa, I think 5 paisa, 2 paisa, or something like that. He said, you buy 2 books. One is called Prarthana, and another one is Prema Bhakti Chandrika by Narottam Das Thakur. So Prarthana is a composition of all his bhajans, and Prema Bhakti Chandrika is a wonderful description of how to achieve prema. The title says Prema Bhakti Chandrika, how to achieve Krishna Prem through wonderful devotional service. So this way we should have laulyam by hearing from these wonderful devotees, especially as Gaur Kishore Das Babaji says, the bhajans of Prarthana by Narottam Das Thakur and Prem Bhakti Chandrika by Narottam Das Thakur. So when we read these books, apply them in our lives and implement into our service, our life becomes successful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments and reflections on Monday morning? Okay, wonderful. May you all have a wonderful devotional day ahead, a wonderful week ahead, and Krishna willing, we'll see you tomorrow at 6:30. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare-
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Have a blissful day, Prabhuji. Thank you.